Just as I thought I Want My Daddy was starting to slow down, it completely took off in a different direction. For the most part, this will be a spoiler free discussion of Casey Watson's latest book. Towards the end, I will give a spoiler warning as there are some things that I really want to discuss. But as I said, this is Casey Watson's latest foster care memoir. It was released on the 13th of April, and I read it in two sittings, technically 2.5 sittings, as I left the last chapter until another day as I was literally falling asleep. But it started off interesting, and then towards the middle it slowed down, and then it really picked up again. It's about a 5-year-old boy called Ethan, and Ethan is at a police station when Casey Watson gets the call about him because his mother has been found deceased um, as a result of drugs. And not much is known about Ethan. There's not much on record. He has no family initially that they know of, but that does change potentially. And it could potentially change the course of where he's going. But we also learn that he has a father, and his father is in prison. Why is his father in prison? Well, I'm not going to say, but he clearly has a bond with his father. Now, I will say that bit was kind of glossed over. We never really got enough information about how Ethan spent time with his father or how he'd built up this bond with him. I definitely feel like there needed to be more information there. I felt like that was kind of glossed over. But not so much that I wasn't able to follow the development of the narrative. I was. But Ethan clearly loves his father. But his future and where he's going to live is unclear. He's also got some unpredictable behavior. He has these outbursts. I was going to say violent outbursts, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the right term. Some of it is quite violent, but it's very much an emotional outburst. And it's not clear whether that's a product of his past or if it's something that he's developed in response to his mother's death. And he's definitely a likable character. He's troubled enough that you want to help him, but not so troubled that you just can't stand him. And I'm sure you'll know what I mean if you've read any other foster care memoirs. There are sometimes those children who you just think you're beyond help. I don't like you. Which sounds mean, but you know the kind of children. Um, but Ethan's actually very likable. And he's obsessed with Paw Patrol, which is something that I thought was quite cute. And I wanted the best for him. I really did. As I said, towards the middle, it started to slow down, and I was thinking, what else? What's going to happen? How is this going to be any interesting? Because right now, not a lot's happening. I don't really see what's going to make this last for another, half of the book, and then something happens. And it genuinely took me by surprise. I was not expecting it, and I have to say it kept me hooked. It really did. So it's a very good book. I did enjoy it. It's not my favourite of Casey Watson's books, but I would recommend it. If you've never read any foster care memoirs before, I'd say it's a good introduction because it's emotional, but it's not horrific. There are some where the children have gone through all kinds of abuse and torture, and they're a lot more emotional. This one is emotional, but it's a much better entry level book into foster care memoirs. So, spoilers from now, absolute spoilers. I'm going to reveal the big thing, the twist, if you like, that kind of turned the direction. And the twist is that Jack is Justin. And honestly, part of me thinks, you know how with these books they have to fabricate bits, they have to twist the truth to hide the identity of the children and the family and other people involved. And I just thought it's so convenient. And Mike and Casey spend so much time trying to convince each other that of course it's possible that they'd be fostering one of their previous foster carers' children because they're in the same county. Foster carers or foster children often go on to have children who end up in the system, and they try and convince each other so much that this is possible that I kind of feel like they're trying to convince the reader, which makes me think it's not true. Now, I don't know if that's the case, because I kind of want it to be true, because it's kind of an interesting narrative, but it was so interesting and so dramatic that I thought, have you fabricated this? Because it's just too good to be true. But at the same time, maybe it is too good to be true, but it is true. And I can't say either way, but we do know that they have to twist the truth, and there is, creative license with these books, and you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. So I don't know. I'm not 100%, and I've never felt this way. I've never ever felt this way about the 50 plus foster carer books that I have read. I've never felt that any of the the dramatic twists were made up just for the narrative. But with this one, as soon as it was revealed, I kind of went, "Oh, that's amazing! That's such a weird coincidence." And then I went, "That's also a really great bit of writing, and that's a really great plot development. That it's almost too true, too good to be true." So I don't know. I don't know if I entirely believe it. But as I said, I've never felt that way about a foster care memoir. Usually I believe them, even though we know that they have to fabricate things or change things to protect identities. So who knows? But either way, it kept me gripped regardless. And I liked it. I Want My Daddy may not be my all-time favourite Casey Watson book, but I really enjoyed it and definitely recommend it.